Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, April 23rd at 12:04 p.m. I call the Board of Water Commissioners meeting to order.
I move that we approve the minutes of April 9th.
Second.
Moved, second, and so voted to approve the minutes of April 9th. First appointment is Kristen Berger.
Okay, thank you. So for the Main Street Water Main project, that is currently out to bid. Keep checking the plan holders list and sending updated copies of that to Chris and Stacy so they can see who's on the list. Definitely have at this point more than just the minimum 3 contractors. So, you know, some of these, the plan holders are other bid advertisement companies that let people know about it, but there's plenty of contractors actually on the plan holders list. So those bids will be coming in next Wednesday. So that'll be, you know, good to get past that hurdle. The other thing about that Main Street Water Main project, we got another round of comments back from DOT last week. It's like the middle of last week, on some minor, very nitpicky kind of
Comment.
items. Yes, I was really hoping they would have just sent us the final, here's the final permit, but they had these other little things to change. You know, particularly for like the traffic control plan, wanting to show different things, sign placement on the plans and such. So we made those changes. It's nothing that would impact the bids, so I'm not gonna repost those plans and have that make confusion with what the bidders are currently doing.
Good idea.
None of the quantities change. It just a slightly, you know, slight change to the traffic plan really, which is still gonna be 1 lane of traffic, and they have to have the signs, and they'll move down the street as they do the work, and they'll have to have police details out there once we, you know, work that out with the police department.
Yeah.
So we made the revisions that they wanted, make them happy, and hopefully finalize this permit. Uploaded those revisions to their permitting program yesterday, and then I got a notice saying that they would review that and issue a final permit by May 20th.
Oh.
So at least it would be
Sure.
before we're looking to start
Yeah.
construction, so
Yeah.
hopefully still.
Good to get that
Yeah.
amendment before you start doing
It would have been nice to
Yeah.
have it now.
Yeah.
I would have issued an addendum and given it to all the bidders, but you know, that's, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So we're getting there, we're really close on that.
That's an important part.
Yes, getting it before you, because it would hold up starting construction,
Yeah.
so. That'll be good to get that. The Water Management Act grant project, and we're continuing to plug away on that. We were just meeting before this meeting to talk about some other questions that I have, and I gave Chris and Stacy an update on where I am with doing the hydraulic modeling for looking at the different tank sites for comparing those, and getting started on looking at the cost comparison, and then some other factors with the land ownership, community opinion. You know, if it's further away from people, it's usually preferred because they, you know, they don't want a tank right by their house, things like that. So once we get through that a little bit more, I'll have an actual presentation to show you that kind of weights those different factors and shows you, okay, out of these 4 sites, which one's the most preferred and why.
Okay,
So
very good.
we'll walk through that. So that was really the focus on that project. And yeah, we're still plugging towards the deadline. We had, between the last meeting and this meeting, we'd submitted to the state the mid-project reporting for that grant program. So that was received, and Stacy said they already processed the reimbursement request for that. So that happened very quickly. So
That's very good.
I think they're satisfied on their end with.
Yeah, it was like within a week and a half.
Yeah, yeah, that's usually a pretty streamlined program for that. And we had given them backup materials to show that work had been done on the project. Every time I meet with Chris and Stacy, I'll put together meeting minutes that shows, you know, what we did, what we talked about, and gave them those updates. So that's all moving positively. So that's it for me.
Very good, thank you, Kristen.
Welcome.
Yes, okay, Kristen had reached out to Winston, regards to the pipe hangers, the grassy hole treatment plant. Paul from Winston Builders was very responsive, reached out within a day or two, was out that following week after our meeting. I met him out there, I worked with Paul, and I got everything resolved. He brought out some equipment to be able to get up there, and between him and I and little Yankee ingenuity, we were able to get things back how they were and tighten up. He was surprised that a lot of those nuts weren't tightened up. He went around and tightened up all the other nuts that had been left loose. And
That's good,
Excellent.
good response and good,
no,
Yeah,
he was great. It was, so that problem's been resolved, and hopefully it'll stay the way it
So
was.
just, they just didn't go back and just, I mean, is there anything else they didn't tighten? I mean, that's in the back of my mind here right now.
I don't know. That's what I asked him. He said this isn't the first time he's run into these brackets not being tight with his crew, so he's gonna be a little more attentive to that with his crew. So
Tighten his crew up a little bit.
that's it. But no, it was great. Very, very responsive, very helpful, and got it resolved, so that's good.
Should we send a letter to Winston thanking him for his quick response on the issue?
yes, I would like to do that.
yeah, and that Jeff, the owner, said to me, if like anything else comes up, let him know right away, so.
Okay.
The candidate for the foreman position, Mike Williams, he submitted all the paperwork. He's slated to start Monday, April 29th. So
That was approved by the select,
yes,
so,
yep. He's
wonderful.
filled out all the
Yep.
required paperwork, and documentation's all been done. So that'd be good to get a full crew back. I think the guys are looking forward to it as much as I am. So
Good.
be good. The women in the office have been working very well and diligently with the turnoff program with a very successful result. An average of 94% over the course of the last 5 weeks has been collected. So great amount of revenue that was delinquents were brought in. A great appreciation and thank you to Laurie and Stacy in the office doing a great job with all that. So.
And since they are the ones that have to take the phone calls, the people that are upset, we want to make sure that we thank them as well for their diligence and cooperation and dealing with the public, not the easiest always.
But that's about all I have.
There's some new business, if you want to just look through your
No.
Yeah.
things on that. Kristen, we got a notice from Mass DEP regarding the water management act registration requirements for
Yeah,
public water systems during droughts.
yeah, that went around to everyone, just to remind them that for some systems that are don't have a permit, they're only registered systems. Having to do the water, ban on outdoor water use restrictions and such is a whole new thing. Versus you guys have had a permit, so you've been required to do those restrictions. So it's not really more than what you're already required to do.
Okay.
So it really was just a reminder for those registered only systems that, hey, this summer, if the state declares a drought of a certain level, whether it's advisory level or something more severe, that they will be required to do the restrictions on outdoor water use, non-essential outdoor water use.
So when do we talk about because I've already started to get calls from people, like, when is the water ban in effect? Do we have a water ban? When can I water? And is that calendar, will that go into effect in May?
Yes, if you go by the calendar year, then it's usually,
May 1st.
May 1st, yeah, May 1st through the end of September 30th.
All right.
What
And
does
that's
the-
every day before 9 after 5.
That even side, even days, odd side, odd days.
Correct. Yeah, before 9 AM, after 5 PM.
But odd even?
Odd even, correct.
Okay, because last year it was every day, right?
No,
One year it was every day.
We changed the way that it was done because there's a lot of confusion with the
Yeah.
residents and stuff, so it used to be, but now it's
So odd even, before 9, after 5.
correct.
One thing that jumped out to me here is the model bylaws that include options for regulating private wells and other things. We don't do that in Kingston at all. Does any
No.
community do that?
No,
Is that something we need to
not,
look
that's
at?
been something that a lot of communities haven't wanted to
Yeah,
insert themselves on, because the water departments, and certainly if it's a whole separate water district, they're like, well, we're not responsible for private wells, that would be the health department, or, not us, so, they have not wanted to do that.
you can see why. I mean, the reality is that those private wells, depending on, if you have like a golf course over there, it's pumping a lot out of that. That is gonna affect the rest of the watershed.
I believe they're subject to their own withdrawal.
If they withdraw over a certain amount, then golf courses have their own permit
Yeah.
with DEP, so.
Yeah.
If
I'm wondering if
there's-
the long term, so the regional planning that you went to, Bob, if that's something that, because I mean, if we're getting to the point where we're gonna have some severe restrictions, I mean, private wells are gonna have to be regulated in some way too, but that's.
That was actually one of the points of discussion was, the difficulty of putting in place something like that. So, I'm sure they'll look at it, and I'm sure we'll look at it. And it's gonna depend on the availability of water.
But maybe not be our responsibility, it might be a town.
Might be.
Right.
So.
If I remember right, when Fred Concord was installing the well, the golf course, there was a annual amount that he could pump, and because he wasn't pumping 12 months of the year, even though he was exceeding what he should have been permitted, they looked at it as a total yearly, amount that he could use. And while, any golf course, whether it's Fred Tonsberg or any other golf course, they use water like it's free. So, but that's a state reg on how that works on private wells.
Right.
But going back to,
But hold on just 1 minute, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that, setting the ban like later on, like next month maybe.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
do we want to talk about it now? This is April 24th. If it's going to go into effect
May
1st of
1st.
May, maybe we should at least announce that there will be a ban in effect.
Is it mandatory?
I wanna look at what we did last year, because
With how much rain we've had, or is it once they say?
You pick one or the other, so if you go by calendar year, then you have to just do May 1st.
We got it.
Otherwise, you're going by stream flow, and
Yeah.
that's very difficult to.
Street flow, especially when we lost the
The date, the
Dam,
old
yeah.
data is based
Yeah.
on having the dam, so
Yeah.
it's really made it
And May
almost
1st is,
impossible.
what we're asking people to do is not all that difficult. If it's odd even days, you can water more than you can't water, so it's.
Yeah, and it's for the non-essential water use, so for something like, starting a whole new lawn, that's recognized differently than you already have an established lawn. So there's some
You
exceptions
looking for the
to
wording on
that.
that, Stacy?
Yeah, I'm
I have it
looking.
hanging in my office.
oh, wait, here, no, I have it here.
DEP has a very
I think we should-
well-defined list of what's included in that non-essential category.
I think we should just vote to put
All right.
the water.
So it was even numbered houses on even numbered days before 9 after 5, odd houses, odd days before 9 after 5. And it was set by calendar, May 1st to September 30th.
Move that.
So have a motion to.
So moved.
Second.
So move to copy what we did last year.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Although,
Move second and so voted to institute a water moratorium.
Water ban.
Water ban on the same guidelines as used in 2023.
How about a water restriction?
that's
Water
water
restrictions.
even better. With the possibility that if we
No,
have to.
just, don't even go there. Right now, all we're doing is putting in a ban, don't,
Calendar trigger.
Restriction.
The calendar triggered by
Yeah.
DEP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay, that takes care of that. We have an amended, receipt of a letter from Fred Tonsberg of Indian Pond Country Club.
that just means I had to amend the agenda to add
I
that.
understand that, but, requesting a water service for a new proposed maintenance building at the Indian Pond Country Club.
So it's a new water service?
There'll be new water service,
Yeah,
correct.
we pretty much do that every meeting. The answer for me is no, we're not gonna make exceptions for anybody for a new water service.
I agree.
Do I hear a motion to send a letter to Mr. Tonsberg notifying him that, along with all other new services in town, no service will be installed until such time as we have a new operating law?
Yep, we're unable to.
So you're
because of our
you're moving it?
overcome. Yeah, so I'll move
I'll
that we
second.
send a letter stating what,
Move second, so voted to notify Mr. Tonsberg that, the department is unable to grant his request for a special permit for his maintenance building at Indian Pond Country Club. And we make sure that that also goes to the building department and also to, town administrator. For unfinished business, do we have any update on the Keller property?
I spoke with Greg McDowell, the contact representative for the Kelleher property. He had no current update with the status of the estate. I did inform him that the Board of Water Commissioners was looking to move forward with pursuing eminent domain for the property.
I suggest you reach out to him again and just let him know that if in fact we can come to an agreement prior to town meeting, that there is money that would set aside above what the appraised value is, that we would be willing to discuss it, but should it go to town meeting vote, it would be based on the appraised value of the property.
Okay. We'll reach out to him.
And like I said before, again, assuming we approve the amended two, we can always just
Don't move it.
not move
Yeah.
it. If it's settled by then, we just not move it.
That's
that's our
always,
goal.
that's always the case, and he needs to understand, it's always the case until town meeting is called to order and we reach the article that deals with that particular piece of property. The Board of Water Commissioners can waive and not move the property, so in all intents and purposes, he's got the very last minute, but that's really not the best idea from our standpoint. We need something in writing that is certifiable, that we've come to an agreement with the Keller estate.
Stacy, do we have the wording for the articles for the?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in there.
Which,
If you
Second to
look
last.
under the last tab, I think, or the second to last tab,
okay,
so,
Third.
this is more, just a final procedure that Keith needs tonight, so that they can close the warrant anytime. I don't know that if we had done votes on two previous ones, but you just asked me to take a revote on all of them, just so we can have something formal for them.
Okay.
I don't know how you wanna do it, and I'll each one up. You don't have to read the bottom half, including the motion, you can just read the top half, just explaining, what the purpose is.
and these are things we've talked about before. so
Yes,
it's not really
yeah,
a
it's
decision.
just, we're gonna move the unexpended articles and we're gonna pile it all together for a water tank maintenance. And then we're gonna use some of the retained earnings for building repairs here. And then, the other one was, the eminent domain article.
Does the eminent domain, the appropriation of the authority, does it have to state in the article that in fact the money was set aside?
It says that.
It does, I know it does here, but yeah. How do you want us to do it, Stacy? Read each article or just,
Why don't you just read so see how each one is split? You've got an upper half and a lower half. Why don't you just read the first paragraph on the bottom half?
To see if the town will vote to
Yes.
close and
Yeah.
transfer. So the
Yeah.
first article,
Mhm.
to see if the town will vote to close and transfer from the following accounts: $152,368.10. Article 5, annual town meeting 518, stabilization of Millgate account. It's number 60451 72524. $12,827. $12,827.02. Article 15. STM was a supplemental
Special
town
town
meeting,
meeting,
special town meeting. 1121, 186 well cleaned pump replacement account number 60451-72610, $65,000. Article 5, annual town meeting 423, well cleaning account number 60451-72616, and transfer from water surplus retained earnings a total of $57,660 for the sum total of $297,855.64 to fund water tank maintenance.
I move the article.
move second and so voted.
The next one. And the second one, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the fiscal year 24 water retained earnings a total of $40,000 to fund building repairs for the water department office located at 22 Elm Street.
Second,
Second.
move second and so voted.
Move also to see if the town will vote to appropriate the use of eminent domain to the Board of Water Commissioners to acquire the land consisting of map 97, lot 14 off Portingways Road and map 97, lot 11 off Muddy Pond Road.
I move it. So moved.
Second.
Move second and so voted.
And you just want to add to that, for anyone that's watching from home, that the funding for the purchase of this land was approved at the FY 22 annual town meeting, Article 6.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anything else, Stacy?
Just I put the letter in there, to Attorney Kraus.
Yep. Thank you for that.
And I think that's it.
I move the adjourn.
Second, move second and so voted to adjourn this meeting at 4:23.